6 years from now, you'll schedule your own father's funeral into a 90-minute block and feel a flicker of satisfaction that it didn't run over. You don't know that yet. Right now, it's 6:40 a.m. and you're awake, scrolling, hating yourself in the specific way only a person with potential and no output can. You're not lazy, you just haven't been broken yet. There's a phrase you're about to learn. You don't break the chain. Write it down. By the end, it will mean something you don't want it to mean. Level 1. The wake up. You set the alarm for 5:30, not because you read it in a book, though you did, but because you're tired of being the version of yourself that negotiates with a snooze button at dawn. The first morning is brutal. The second is worse. By the 9th morning, something strange happens. Your eyes open at 5:28 without the alarm, 2 minutes early. Your body has started to obey before your mind votes. That's the first taste, and it's addictive in a way nobody warns you about. You make the bed, 40 seconds. A made bed is a finished task before the day has even loaded, and a finished task at 5:31 a.m. tells your brain you're a person who finishes things. You start a street counter that morning. Day 1, you will not break the chain.
Level 2. The cold. Someone in a comment section said the cold shower rewires your dopamine baseline, and you don't fully believe it, but you turn the knob anyway. 30 seconds the first time. You gasp like you're being born. But here's what actually happens, and it has nothing to do with brown fat or cortisol or any of the science people quote without reading. The cold teaches you a sentence you'll use for the rest of your life. I can do a hard thing on purpose right now when no one is watching. That's the whole transaction. You're not training your body. You're training the gap between wanting to quit and quitting. You widen that gap by 4 seconds a day. By week 3, you stand under it for 3 minutes without flinching. Day 23, the chain holds. Level 3, the system. Willpower was never going to scale, and you figure that out the morning you skip the gym because you didn't feel like it. Feelings are weather. You can't build on weather. So you stop relying on motivation and start building architecture. You lay your gym clothes out the night before. You delete the 3 apps that eat your mornings. You put your phone in another room at 9 p.m. and buy a $14 alarm clock so the phone has no reason to sleep beside you. You batch your meals on Sunday into 7 identical containers that taste like nothing and fuel everything. The decisions disappear. That's the secret nobody puts on a thumbnail. Discipline isn't making the right choice every day. It's removing the choice entirely. A disciplined person isn't fighting temptation constantly. They've quietly engineered a life where the temptation never gets to the door. Day 51. You haven't missed once.
Level 4. The output. Now it compounds. You read 20 pages every morning before the world wakes, and 20 pages a day is roughly 25 books a year, and you realize you've quietly outread every person you went to school with. You time block your work into 90-minute focus sprints with the phone face down in the drawer, and you discover that 2 clean sprints outproduce a coworker's entire scattered 8-hour day. People notice. Your boss notices. A friend asks how you do it all, and you don't have an answer, because to you, it doesn't feel like doing it all. It feels like the bare minimum. It feels like Tuesday. This is the first level where discipline pays you back in something visible. Money maybe, a promotion, respect that arrives in the room before you do. You get drunk on it. You should pay attention to that word, drunk. Day 140. The chain is the longest thing you own. Level 5. The edge. Somewhere in here, rest starts to feel like theft. You catch yourself doing the math on a lazy Sunday, calculating what it cost you, what you could have built. A friend invites you to a thing on a Wednesday, and you hear yourself say, I can't, I have a routine. And you watch their face do something small and disappointed, and you file that away as their weakness, not yours. You start to believe that the people around you are simply soft. You're not entirely wrong, which is the dangerous part. You have outpaced them, but you've also started measuring human beings by their output, and you've started with yourself. The discipline that was supposed to set you free has quietly become the only language you speak. Day 210. You don't break the chain. You're not sure you remember how. Level 6. The machine. You optimize everything now. Your meals are macros. Your sleep is a score you check before you check on the people you love. You read on walks at 1.5x speed because silence feels like waste. You've stopped saying yes to anything that doesn't have a return on investment. And somewhere in that sentence, a human being went missing. You're producing more than you ever have. You are also, if you're honest, in the 4-second gap before sleep, lonelier than you've ever been. But you've trained yourself not to sit in that gap long enough to feel it. There isn't anywhere useful that feeling can take you, so you don't go there. You get up at 4:47 instead of 5:30 now, because the extra 43 minutes is 43 minutes. Day 365. 1 full year. You celebrate by working. Level 7. The cost shows up. It arrives quietly, the way these things do. A relationship ends, and the other person uses a word you don't have a defense for, unavailable. Not absent, you were always physically there, on schedule, present at the calendared time. You were unavailable in the way a building is unavailable. Lights on, nobody answering. You tell yourself they couldn't keep up. But late that night, the street counter is sitting there glowing, day 400 and something, and for the first time you look at the number and feel nothing. The chain was supposed to be a tool. When did it become the boss? When did "you don't break the chain" stop being a promise you made and start being a sentence you're serving?
Level 8. The Summit. You've made it. By every external metric, you are the person those 40 videos promised you'd become. The body, the bank account, the calendar that runs like a Swiss mechanism. Younger people message you asking for your routine, and you send it to them. All of it. And you watch them light up the way you once did. And you don't have the heart to tell them what's at the top of the mountain. Because here's what's at the top. More mountain. The discipline doesn't have a finish line. It was never designed to. A system optimized for output will always find more output to demand, and you built yourself into that system so completely that there's no version of you left standing outside it to call it off. You are the most effective you've ever been. You cannot remember the last time you were happy, but you can tell me your average deep work hours for the trailing 30 days to one decimal place.
Level 9. The funeral. Your father dies on a Tuesday. You handle everything, because handling things is what you do, and you're good at it, and the logistics genuinely need someone steady. You block the funeral into the calendar, 90 minutes. And standing at the back of the room, you feel it, the small, clean click of satisfaction that it's running on time. And then you feel the horror of having felt that. This is the false floor giving way. You thought the cost of discipline was the friends and the Sundays and the relationship. The real cost was this. You turned the part of yourself that was supposed to feel the moment into the part that manages it. You optimized the witness. There's no metric for what that takes. There's no street counter for the days you were technically present and actually gone. Level 10. The chain. It's 4:47 a.m. The alarm didn't go off because you don't need it anymore. You haven't for years. Your body obeys before your mind gets a vote. You make the bed. 40 seconds. You stand at the window in the dark and you finally understand the phrase you wrote down all those days ago. You don't break the chain. You used to think you were the one holding it. You make the coffee. You open the notebook. Somewhere out there, a tired person is lying in bed at 6:20 a.m., hating themselves with potential, watching a video exactly like the one they think changed their life. They're about to set an alarm for 5:30. They have no idea what they're installing. They have no idea it doesn't uninstall. They'll figure it out. Everyone does. The question is, what's left of you when the discipline finally has nothing left to optimize but the person who built it? Discipline doesn't make you free. It makes you efficient. Freedom was the thing you traded to get it.